Okay, we're going to get started now. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Welcome. Hopefully you're able to grab a bite to eat while we go through this lunchtime session. I'm Michelle Cortens. I'm the tree fruit specialist at Perennia, and I'm joined today by Matthew Pyle, who's our acting vegetable specialist. I'm going to be giving you a walkthrough of the tool, and Matthew is going to be monitoring the chat. So please feel free to put any questions in the chat or the Q&A function as we go today. We have decided that we're going to wait until the very end of the presentation to go through the questions, just to give you a chance to see the entire tool, and then we can go through any specific questions that you have at the end. And we should have plenty of time to do that, so don't worry about that. So today I'm going to be explaining why Perennia is moving the pest guides online and how to navigate this new tool. We hope it'll be really useful to all of you. And yeah, I think we are ready to get started. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. Okay, so what you're seeing now is the old version of the guide. So this is from 2023, and I just wanted to give a brief background about how we used to publish and maintain these guides. So I just, scroll down here. This is a static Word document, and, you would have to scroll down to any tables to find the information that you're looking for. So it used to be like this. It was not very interactive, like you couldn't sort the information. It was a little difficult to search for the specific information that you were looking for. So we really, at Perennia, wanted to make all of these guides more interactive to help answer your questions as you assess your pesticide options. So we wanted to be able to allow you to filter this information, to search it, and to sort it. So we, also at Perennia maintain about 50 of these guides, including the vegetable guides, the tree fruit guides, and the small fruit berry guides. So it's quite a few files the way we used to do it. We used to have 50 disconnected files, and we really wanted to move in the direction of having a database of information, because that way it would be much more efficient for us to maintain and to make changes and to be able to add more information as pesticide labels become more and more specific. So this new format that we've come up with that I'm going to show you today is much more efficient for Perennia staff to update, and it should be much more efficient for you to use as well. Also, we used to have to format all of this in Microsoft Word manually, and in our new format where it's being hosted online, that formatting is automatic. It's just part of the online format. So now I'm going to move away from the old guide, and we're going to start to talk about the new format. So I'm just going to click on a different tab that I have open at the top here. So where we are now is the landing page for the online pest management guide. So you could find this directly on our website when we release it today. So you would just scroll down here, and there's a little bit of welcome information. There's also a link to watch a tutorial video if you find you need more support after today, and also a how to use guide with some screenshots just to make sure you have a lot of resources there to help you out if you need it. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us at any time. And what you would do is scroll down, and you can access the tool from this link here. Or once you access this link in the future, if you continue to use this resource, you can bookmark the page and just be directly on the tool page every single time. So as if you're clicking that link, I'm just going to go to the next tab here, and this is where I'm just going to go to the home screen here, and this is where you would arrive at when you visit this online tool. So it's directly on the Perennia website, and there's no login required, so you can access this anytime quickly. Just bookmark this page however you bookmark the URLs on your computer or on your phone. So it's perennia.ca/pest-guides when we release it today. So what I'm going to show you is how to navigate this tool. So you'll see that there's this menu bar at the top here on the tool, and there's a home screen just welcoming you to here. There's general information, which would include pesticide safety information and application information. Then you get into your tree and vine fruit pest guides, small fruit pest guides, and vegetable pest guides. So that's just how we've broken it down. So the first example I'm going to show today is the vegetable pest guides, because it can serve as a really good example of how to use this tool. So once you click on vegetable pest guides, then you're given the option of seeing the insect and disease management schedule or the weed schedule. So today I'm just going to click on insects and diseases. Okay, and it's just taking a second to load there. It's a little slower when I'm sharing my screen, so it should be a lot quicker when you're just looking on your own on the computer. So here we are on the vegetable insect and disease management guide, and you can see automatically that we've got all vegetables selected to begin with. And the benefit of doing this for the vegetable growers is that we were able to combine all of the vegetable pest guides together so that if a person grows multiple crops, they can filter it down to those multiple crops and see all that information at the same time. So that we're hoping is going to be a lot easier for them. But if a vegetable grower just wants to see a specific crop, we've also got these specific crop pages that they can visit as well. So what I'm going to do now is scroll down a little bit on the tool, and I'm going to scroll past this search feature here because we're going to go into more detail about this later. But what I want you to know is even if you don't use the basic search or the advanced search, you'll see that they're both optional there. Even if you don't use them, if you scroll down, the guide is already showing. So, you can see that we've got 2,930 results here for the vegetable pest guides. That's because we've got all of the entries for every vegetable crop. So you can look at the entire guide if you want to, that's completely okay. But I'm also going to show you how to access that information more quickly. Also, what I want to point out here is that our guides are still in the familiar table format that you're used to. So you can see, you can still compare products side by side. And if you look at the top of the table in the columns here, we've got pesticide products, active ingredient, group number, application method, which might be new for some of these guides, rate, maximum applications and application interval, which also might be new for some of the guides because we've been able to create new columns and pull that information out from where we previously used to have it in the notes section. So now it's just a little handier because you can look at it much quicker. And then we've got the pre-harvest interval, the re-entry interval, and then of course your notes, restrictions, and warnings. So we've kind of tried to include all of the most important information in the table, but in some cases there might be more information about a particular product. So you could click on the view button in the details column to see a product specific page. And we are going to look at that a little later. But before going to that, I want to scroll back up the page. So now that you know that the guide, it looks like a table, I'll just scroll down a little further. You can see we see the next pest there. If I keep scrolling, there's another pest, another pest, another pest, until if we scrolled further, we would eventually get to the next crop and the pests that are associated with that crop. So like I said, I'm just going to scroll back up to the top of the page where we've got these search features. So we've got the basic and the advanced search. And so for the vegetable pest guide, what you might want to do is search multiple crops. So you would click in this box here and say you grow carrots, you could apply carrot to the search, but say you also grow pumpkin and squash, then you could select pumpkin and squash. And now we've got two search functions applied. So I could hit search and just see all of the carrot and pumpkin and squash products. And so now you see that our search results are showing 235 entries instead of the close to 3,000 entries from before. So it's a lot more manageable that way. But also you might, it might be the middle of growing season, there's a specific pest you're interested in, say, you're growing these two crops, that Alternaria is a pest of both crops, you would hit search and you would be able to find the results for both of those crops for that particular pest. So if you look here, carrot, those are the listed products, and then pumpkin and squash, the listed products as well. What you can see by looking at these two results is that so Cabrio comes up as an option for carrot Alternaria, and you can also see that Cabrio is an option for pumpkin and squash as well. Approvia is registered for pumpkin and squash, but Approvia is not registered for carrot Alternaria. So in this way, you can look at what products might be able to address multiple crop concerns and pest concerns as well. Okay, so I'll also go back to the top. And so you could continue to apply filters and narrow it down even further if you really wanted to, but you could also reset this search. So I'll just hit reset. And maybe I wanted to think about this a different way. So maybe I have the product Cabrio, so I could start typing in Cabrio and it would come up as an option here in the vegetable pest guide. And I could hit search. And then you would see that there's 38 entries for Cabrio showing which crops and which pests are contained in this guide. So that's another way of looking at it. Of course, you could also look at the product label for that product. But anyway, it's just a different way of looking at it. And other ways of using kind of the more advanced search here is that maybe you only want to see all of the fungicides listed in the guide. You could apply that. Or maybe you want to see all of the insecticides in the guide. You could apply that option as well. And then in terms of management system here, the way we've done it is that by default, all of our guides are showing both conventional and organic products. But if you're only an organic grower, then you would select potentially organic field products if you're growing in a field situation, or greenhouse products if you're in a greenhouse situation. We say potentially organic because we can't guarantee that a product is organic. You would have to check with your organic certifier, but we typically know which products tend to fall under that category. So we've flagged some products as potentially organic. If you're looking for only conventional products, then you could also apply that filter instead, just conventional field products or just conventional greenhouse products. But by default, they're all showing. And then finally, in the advanced search here, we've got this option for last updated. And this is going to become a lot more useful in the future. But the idea with this is that if Perennia is applying updates, maybe occasionally throughout the year or at least on a yearly basis, you would be able to apply a filter to say, I only want to see the product entries that have changed during the previous one rolling year. And we will have some resources to explain how to use these filters. But if you just wanted to see during the last 12 months what changes Perennia has made, because maybe you're already very familiar with the spray schedule and you just want to see what has changed recently, then you would be able to apply that filter and just see what products have been updated recently. This is not going to be as useful this year because obviously we created the tool this year, so everything is showing up as new right now. So I think next year we're going to explain that a lot more so that you can see what updates have been made. Okay, so that's a pretty good overview of using the search features. And you can always reset and apply different searches. And to apply those options, you would always press the search button there as well. Okay, so now I'm going to go back up to the top. So as you remember, we were looking at all of the vegetable pest guides at the same time. But say that's a little overwhelming and you just want to look at, say, the celery guide, we can just click on celery there. And it's just going to load the celery entries. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down just to show you that we're only seeing 103 entries because this is only for celery. Okay, so using this celery as an example, I want to look at this table again just to show you how it can be used even better than before. So what we can do is, I already explained all of the column headings. You can actually sort this table according to the column headings. So for example, if you wanted to see something that had a short re-entry interval, if you click right there on the word REI, re-entry interval, this table, it's still going to be organized by crop and by pest, but now within pest, you're going to see the re-entry interval sorted from smallest to largest. So if I just scroll down here, you can see for aphid products, quite a few of these are 12-hour re-entries, but if we keep going, then you're going to start to see 24 hours and so on. So it's going to be from shortest to largest time to re-enter the field. So that's a very quick way for you to analyze the pesticide options that you have available to you. All right. So now I want to show you that these tables can still be printed. So if you don't want to use it in the online format, at all or all the time, printing is still an option. So what you would do is go to the top of the page, and every single page has this print feature on it. So just in the top right corner, you would press print. And Matt, I think, can you just confirm that everyone could see my print screen that just popped up?
Yes, or at least I can. But
Perfect.
it's the same for everyone.
Okay, thank you. So what you would do here is, you scroll down here and you can see that every page that you're printing has the column headers repeated on every single page automatically, and you've got all of your information showing. So yeah, you can definitely still print it, and it's in the table format. And you could save it to a PDF if that's something you want to do as well, right from the print feature. All right, so next, another feature I want to show you is the product details page that I just alluded to earlier in the presentation. So that would be this column here where you could see more details about a particular product. So for example, if we were interested in using Quadris, we could click on the details page. And now this product specific page comes up. So it's listing a lot of information that was already in the table, but it gives you a good overview. And this page also gives us the opportunity at Perennia to start adding more information if we feel it would be helpful. So for example, we are working on putting the pesticide registration number on these pages, and the Apple Guide has like pollinator toxicity ratings. So it's really just an opportunity for more information. You can also print this page on the top right corner. So if you just wanted a summary of a particular product printed, then you could print this page as well. I've had a question in the past about why we are not linking directly to the pesticide product label, and that's a very good question. We've decided not to link directly to the product label because that label can change unexpectedly for us, and then the link would break. So it involves a lot of maintenance, checking that those labels are constantly up to date. So we decided not to do that. But instead, on every single page, if you scroll to the bottom of the page, we have the link to the pesticide label search website that you're familiar with using. So you would be responsible for searching for that label on your own. And we're hoping that will help your search by, we've been very specific about the formulation of each product, the product name. And once we add those pesticide registration numbers, you'll know exactly which label we're referring to. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go back to the celery page. And I can do this by going back in my browser, or I could, there's this kind of this sub menu that starts to appear once you get further into the tool. So we're in the vegetable pest guides, in the insects and diseases, we were in the celery page, and now we're in the celery product details. So I could just jump back to celery by clicking on that link as well. So it's just a navigation feature if you're interested in that. So I'm back on the celery page, and here I want to search for a specific product to show you another feature of this tool. So I'm going to search for fulfill. And when I go into the product details for fulfill, you'll see that this warning pops up. So warning, the crop use of this pesticide has undergone reevaluation by the Pest Management Regulatory Agency, and a decision has been made that may affect your use of this product. Please review product registration changes. So if you go down to product registration changes, it says last sale by retail was May the 6th, 2023. Expiry date of registration is May 6th, 2024. So in the case where products are have specific registration changes that are happening, we're going to be listing those in this area. And if you visit the product page, then you're going to see this warning appearing. And if I go back to the table, I think we will probably also add a column for the status as well, just so you can see that information more quickly. But that update will come in the future. But for now, if you go to the details page, you will see a warning associated with products that have had changes made. Okay, so that's a good overview by looking at the vegetable pest guide. So now I'm going to switch over to a tree fruit guide just to give you an idea of what one of our other guides looks like. So I'm going to go to insects and diseases under tree fruit. And so automatically the apple guide is the one that comes up first, but then you also see there's a pear guide, peach and nectarine, plum, cherries, which are now condensed with sweet and sour cherries together, and then wine grapes as well. So I'm just going to scroll down now, and you can see that it's the same search format. We've got the basic search and the advanced search for the same items. And if I keep going down, what I want to explain here is why we weren't able to combine all crops into a single guide. And it's because all specific crops have different sorting, different ways of sorting these schedules. So for apple, for example, they're sorted based on growth stage. So, we couldn't put it in the same table as vegetables because vegetables are not sorted by these same growth stages. So we do have specific schedules for certain crops. So with apple, we've got the growth stages and then followed by the pest. And then there's also a few different columns here. So for apples, it becomes important to look at the re-entry for hand thinning on a lot of products recently. So some of these products will have hand thinning. So you can see 35 days for mancozeb. So some of these products are going to have specific re-entries based on that hand thinning activity. So, so that's an option now in the Apple Guide. Also in the Apple Guide, what's new is I've pulled out the maximum applications and the application interval, because a lot of those. So if you scroll down here, you can see that we're getting specific information for those questions. And then status, I've included the status in here just recently, and I will show you an example of that right now. So if I look for the product Calypso, oops, if I could spell, Calypso, and I'm going to press search to find that product. You can see under status, it says phase out, product expires and will be canceled on 2025, the 31st of December. That's how that column is going to be useful. My screen is really small right now, so you can see you just have to scroll side to side here. And that's how it would appear on the mobile phone as well. That's just why that's being a little cut off on the edge there. Okay, what else do I want to show you all? I guess I would just explain that the reason we've also separated the insect and disease guide from the herbicide weed management guide is that, again, the insect and disease guide is based on crop stage, whereas the weed guide is usually based on weed stage. So it's different, different data styles, so they couldn't be merged together. So that's why we have the separate guides still. And let's see. Oh, in the case of tree fruit, I did, if we go into the details, I can show you the pesticide registration number. That's where that's going to appear. And then if I go back to Apple, yeah, I think that's all I wanted to show you for Apple there. So that just gives you an idea of how some of the guides are just slightly different. But we've really tried to be consistent at the same time with like the search information. So now what I want to show you is the mobile format that I mentioned. So if I just shrink my screen, and the website's going to react. So this website is not an application on your phone, like you don't have to download it. As long as you have internet, you can visit that web address and the website is going to adjust to your screen size. So if I scroll down now, you can see that the search, instead of being the basic search side by side, it's now one on top of the other. So this is what the mobile format would look like if you were in the field, and then you would scroll side to side in the table in the field. Yeah, so that's how that would look on your mobile phone. So it can be used on Android or Apple phones. It doesn't matter. It's just a website that you would visit. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the full screen. And that's all that I wanted to give for examples today. So I just want to explain how this improves the maintenance process for Perennia. So like I said, we've built a database now where we're able to easily access maintaining all of this information. So what we can do, you as clients can filter this information to find what you're looking for, but us at Perennia, when we're making updates to the information, we can also search and update that information. So for example, in apples, if a sale had some product updates, me as an editor would go in and search for a sale, and I could quickly edit this information just by finding all of those entries. So it is much more efficient for us. And because we're going to be saving time at Perennia, we have ideas for how we can make these guides even better, how we can add more information. And something we really want to do is have faster update time so that you get access to these guides much earlier in the year. So next year we'll have a very fast update time compared to what you're used to. And yes, this is going to be very sustainable for us to maintain now. So just to leave you with some key messages before we get to your questions, we really wanted to make this interactive to help with your decision making. It's still organized in a table. It's still printable if that's how you want to use it. And we're going to be able to update it much more efficiently. So I'd like to stop now and take questions. So Matt, are there any questions out there?
Yeah, we have a few. So the first one you kind of just covered, but I'll ask it all the same. Are all of the functions of the online pest guide enabled while using the cell phone in the field?
Yes, they are all enabled.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't lose any functionality going to the mobile format.
Okay, perfect. So this next question, is a similar guide being developed for greenhouse ornamentals?
if the guide doesn't currently exist, what we've done this year is we've transferred the information from prior years into this online format. So if it didn't already exist, then it's not necessarily on our radar. So if that's something that you would like, then I would say get in touch with the specialist that that you work with, and we would look at creating a new guide if that's a need that we need to meet.
Great. And then in the current guide, is there a way to search if specific chemicals can be tank mixed or combined?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So tank mixing is a new requirement that the Pest Management Regulatory Agency has on product labels. And that has really just come into effect in recent years. I think they started in 2023 and they've been doing it this year as well. And it all has to come into effect on labels by the end of this year. So it's not something that we have put on our online tool. We think that it might be very difficult to maintain, especially if the labels are saying specific tank mixtures with specific products. That could get very tricky for us to stay on top of, and it might just be best to go directly to the label for that information. But if a lot of the labels are just giving that yes or no to tank mixing statement, then that might be something we might be able to add a column that says like, yes, all tank mixes, or no, see information for specific tank mixes. So in short, it's not something that we currently have on the tool right now, but it is something we could look at. So if that's something you really want, then be sure to follow up with us and let us know that that's something you would like to see on here.
Will we be developing an app in the future?
No, we have no plans to develop an app for this. Apps are very difficult to maintain because the App Store usually has new requirements, and then you have to hire a developer to continue making sure that the app is meeting the requirements of the App Store. So it's much more programming, and we're trying to kind of stay away from that for this guide. But that's why we have a reactive website. So it's going to change based on your screen size. So it should still be very usable in the field. Yeah.
Okay. We do have another question. Kind of half comment, half question. It says tree fruit borer is not listed as a pest. How can we ask Perennia to add products or pest to the guide?
Oh, that's a really good question. Yeah. So just reach out to the specialist who you would work with. So in that case, just send me an email asking for that information. Yeah, sometimes it's just not included in the guide because it's maybe not a major issue, but we could look at easily adding that information now. So yeah, just reach out to me and we can look at that. And what I would do is search the pesticide product labels and find which products are registered, and then just simply add that to the guide.
Okay, that's the end of the questions. I'll just quickly check chat as well. Only last couple of comments I have here is saying that it looks great. So just to pass that along, but seems to be the ooh, sorry, one just came in. So this is more of a comment, just letting you know in Ontario many years ago, we had a tank mix guide that were for physical compatibility mixing only, did not account for any of the possible chemical interactions. So I guess that would be the sort of Wales system or whatever.
Yeah. And that's the kind of information we would like to move towards including, like more information about efficacy and maybe tank mix incompatibility. So I have a long list of major and minor priorities I'd like to do with this, but it's really opened up a lot of opportunities for us so we can continue to make this a better resource. Yeah.
Great. I think that was the last one.
Okay. Yeah, we can also wait a few minutes if people are still thinking and want to submit questions. But what I'll say in the meantime is that after this webinar, we're going to officially release this tool. So I'm going to follow up with all of you with an email so that you can get the link to access it. And we've also recorded the presentation today, so I'll send you that recording. But we also have a very quick 10-minute tutorial and the how-to guide as well that you can access. So just feel free to reach out to us anytime as well if you have any questions and any suggestions as well. We're definitely open to your feedback. So thank you so much for joining us today. Hope this was helpful, and we really hope that this is a good tool for everyone in the province.